Hello and welcome to Eye on South Asia. I'm Bhavna Vanan.
And I'm Sanjiv Pandya.
Every week we'll bring to you the latest news, events, and happenings in the South Asian community. Sanjiv, 2012 is coming to a close.
This happens to be the last weekend of 2012.
Exactly, and we're still here. The world didn't end.
That's right.
And we're just going to look back on some of the big events regarding India, the Indian community, and the world at large. So, regarding the UN, It wasn't too bad of a year for India. India actually came with its second presidency to the United Nations Security Council. They're still a non-permanent member, but they've had a pretty successful year in terms of building diplomacy with states like Palestine and parts of Africa like Sudan and the Republic of Congo, where they have been negotiating for an elevated status for Palestine, for example. They are now an observing member. They are not an actual member of the UN, but India has been pushing to get them more in participation at the UN.
Last year in 2011, their diplomacy, it was a successful diplomacy in the Security Council. So this year they were able to work on a few projects, just like you mentioned, from Palestine to South Sudan. And also this year, for the first time in the history of the UN and the Security Council, India organized a thematic debate on piracy, which is, I think, a growing concern. And that actually created a lot of awareness, and that also got India achieved PRST, which is called Presidential Statement, and that itself is an achievement.
Exactly. And typically, the incumbent president is able to hold only 2 debates, but this time India has held 4 debates, which is a record. And another one of their initiatives with the debates was counterterrorism, as well as Hardip Singh Puri's push for a reform of the entire Security Council. And that's something that India has taken a pretty strong position on. And they really want to make the Security Council reflect more contemporary realities of the international stage as a whole. They want to bring more countries into the UN and be able to contribute. So India actually has become the first non-Arab country to support Palestine as a state with the UN. And there has been some resistance to that, especially with Israel and the US and several of their allies.
Israel definitely unhappy with this scenario. But now, with I think increasing their influence and strengthening their position in the Security Council and United Nations, I think India's prospects are looking much better in the year coming ahead, 2013 and onwards.
Exactly, and we're hoping that India actually makes it to a permanent member soon. And moving back to the national stage with the US, we actually had this eruption of dialogue and protests regarding the NRA and restricting the rules for gun laws.
That's right.
And hundreds of demonstrators now have swarmed the Capitol Hill office and the NRA on Monday to denounce the powerful lobby of the NRA and to push for new gun controls in response to the Sandy Hook killings of 27 people in Connecticut.
Well, I think people were chanting, shame on NRA, shame on NRA. And I think, if I remember correctly, in our last week's Eye on South Asia episode, we talked about what NRA spokesperson had issued a statement saying that it's not so much about guns, but let's have security guards at every school in the USA. And they were actually blaming everybody else, from movies to video games to people and everybody else but themselves. And now I think people took the streets in Washington, D.C. to protest against NRA. And I think this hastily organized demonstration was almost certainly a prelude for what's to come after the killings in Newton, Connecticut.
Right. Credo Action, a liberal activist group, was heading this protest, and they had some opposition from civilian protesters as well, counter-protesters, that were advocating more guns in schools. And we really hope that there can be solutions from the NRA side as well as all across the board too.
Okay. And just to add that Obama administration has really started to work on imposing strict gun controls in the USA.
Exactly. So let's look at the business side of things. How are things going with Google? Well,
very interesting story.
Very interesting. So there is a market in North India called Chandni Chowk.
In Delhi.
In Delhi.
In the capital
Have
of
you
Delhi.
been to this
Yes,
market?
yes, I've been to Chandni Chowk.
Okay, so
It
there's...
is a huge market.
How many shops are actually there?
Thousands of shops there.
Thousands of shops.
Right.
Well, Google is now helping these businesses get their presence online, and they're calling it the India Get Your Business Online initiative. So what they're doing is that Google is partnering with HostGator,
Right.
and they're going to be bringing in over 2,500 businesses in Chandni Chowk online to give them that presence.
And that is a free domain and a free website that Google is going to give it to them.
Exactly.
About 2,500 businesses in Chandni Chowk will have their free website, free domain, just to promote their businesses, not only in Chandni Chowk, but all over the world.
All over India, especially. Google India has also launched www.chandnichowkonline.in,
Right.
which is going to encompass all of the businesses that are part of that whole market. And not only that, but they're taking it all over India.
Right.
They're kind of starting with this.
Chandni Chowk, exactly.
Yeah, they're starting with Chandni Chowk
but they're gonna go
and
all over
expanding it all over India.
And this is a part of their project called SMB. SMB stands for Small and Medium Businesses.
Okay, exactly. And by next year, they're expecting to cover 300,000 businesses. And by 2014, they're going to cover 500,000 businesses in India alone. So just imagine how much of an improvement that's going to give to Indian businesses, small businesses, and that sort of thing. Because there has been an issue with FDI retail kind of marginalizing small businesses. And I think this is a great effort to bring them back and give them a presence.
True, and Chandni Chowk is always crowded, Bhavna, because there are, like I said, thousands of shops. It's always crowded, always busy, and you could buy almost anything in that chalk. So now, as it is, market stays busy, and now with this 2,500 businesses getting their domain and their websites, I'm sure online traffic is even going to be bigger than that.
Oh yes, India has a huge online traffic. It has 137 million internet users in the country.
There you go. Exactly.
So Indian internet users and customers are actually turning more and more to the internet to be able to search for what they're looking for. If they want a dentist or something, you know, they'll be able to go online and find that information, as opposed to reaching for the yellow pages or word of mouth.
Correct.
And there have been similar initiatives in the US, and I think Google is really using that model that is in the US to translate that to India. Because I know if you were to order a pizza or something, you know exactly where to go, you know the website, so they're trying to translate that into India.
All right, all the best.
Should be very successful.
Sure.
Okay, so moving back to the US, we have a really big initiative going on at Columbia University. So we have an entrepreneur. His name is Sharik Karimboy. He's a 32-year-old founder of New Delhi-based Element Capital.
Right.
And he's making a huge contribution to Columbia University. It's $12.12 million grant, and he is donating it to this university to focus on programs and research on emerging markets.
And there's a reason why there's a $12.12 million donation, because he said in his speech that that 12/12, December 12, was a significant date, and he said that we will probably never see this date again in our lifetime, and that's why he wanted to be very specific with it, and $12.12 million is being donated to Columbia University. And he actually is a young entrepreneur who also serves as a chief operating officer of the Shahnaz Hussain beauty shops, you know, the group of the herbal cosmetics. I'm sure you must have heard the name of Shahnaz Hussain.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Shahnaz Hussain was actually Sharik's grandmother. So he heads this company as a COO, and he is donating $12.12 million to Columbia University.
Right, and one of the focuses that he has in the research into emerging markets is specifically focusing on providing low-income housing in India, because he explains that there's a huge demand for low-income housing in India, where there's a lot of rising prices for housing where even middle class people are starting to move into very low income or even slums where they just can't afford that kind of housing.
And the government has not provided single home per person in the country. They have not been able to do so, and that's why he's taking a little bit of initiative. And he himself, Sharik Karimbai, also attended Columbia from excuse me. Okay. And Sharik Karimbai also attended Columbia from 1998 to 2002 and finished all his coursework towards the undergraduate degree in economics. And this Karimbai, I think, foundations, and there are also other entities, for one or the other reason they have been in the news for one such a work that they are in a legal battle because they owned a land roughly 500,000 square feet land that they owned in the Mumbai, which they actually sold it to Mukesh Ambani in 2002.
Right.
And that's where Mukesh Ambani built the world's most expensive
They
home.
sold it for $5 million.
Right.
And how much did his home cost?
$1 billion.
Oh my goodness, his home was $1 billion.
Yes, it is. Wow. It is the world's most expensive home, costing $1 billion. And Mukesh Ambani bought this land for $5 million in 2002. It's 500,000 square foot, right? And ever since then, this Karimbai Foundation, with another name, they've been also in the legal, trouble, something going on over there.
I see. Well, Karimbai is going to be using his personal funds and not his funds that came from his business transactions to do this, to give this donation. Okay, so let's get into business for the year 2012. How was the year in business for India and the Indian American community and Indian diaspora?
Sure.
Well, in January, we had some lawsuits that were filed. Preet Bharara, the United States attorney, he had gone on a rampage, really targeting several investment professionals.
He's unstoppable.
He's unstoppable. And he targeted 6 investment professionals on insider trading schemes that allegedly netted over $78 billion in illegal profits.
That's right.
And as of now, he has been able to successfully prosecute all of them. So he has a 100%
His track record is
success rate.
Amazing. In the February, top Indian information technology firms started making efforts to raise local hiring in the United States. Infosys, being number one, will later announce that they plan to hire about 2,000 people in the US this year, while the HCL Technologies announced plans to hire 10,000 people in the US and Europe.
That's great. That's great for the US market. All right. So with India, in the same month, they were given a lot of pressure by the US to tailor down their imports from Iran, especially regarding their oil. And at that time, India really was not ready to do that. I believe later in the year, though, they had scaled down their imports. But earlier in February 2012, they were not ready.
And March seems to be also a month which was busy for Indian businesses. Naveen Selvadurai, the India-born co-founder of Foursquare, left the company 3 years after he established it.
Now, have you used Foursquare?
No, I have not.
It's an iPhone app, and it's hugely successful, and you're able to check into different hotspots around the city, and it's kind of like Yelp, but it lets you really learn about what's new and what's happening in the city.
So why did he leave the company then?
I think that he just wanted to move on, and there might have been some political issues within the company, obviously, but yes, Foursquare founder Naveen Selvadurai left the company. All right, Sanjiv, we've covered January through March, the 1st of 2012.
Right.
We're going to have more overview in business 2012 right after the break. Stay tuned.